Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to share something with you that still sends a shiver down my spine when I think about it. Have you ever had a dream so incredibly vivid, so undeniably real, that it felt like you were actually living it? Well, imagine waking up from that kind of dream only to realize it wasn't just a dream. It was a chilling premonition, a horrifying glimpse into a future that was apparently, my future. And let me tell you, my future was not looking good at all. It all started after a rather, eventful night. I won't dive too deep into the specifics, but let's just say things got a little hazy. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a terrifying, crystal clear realization. It was as if someone had downloaded an entire novel into my brain, and to my absolute horror, I was cast as the designated villainess. Not just any villainess, mind you, but the kind who was meant for a truly brutal, tragic end. Think dramatic downfall, a shattered family, and a one-way ticket to prison. And the most shocking twist, the man I had, encountered the night before, Ethan, was none other than the male lead's secret rival, who was supposed to be deeply in love with the heroine and who was destined to become my most formidable enemy. Talk about a rude awakening. My palms were sweating. My heart was racing like a hummingbird. I stared at Ethan, who was still right there, and a cold dread washed over me. The original plot, as I flashed through my mind, was utterly brutal. He was destined to despise me, to make my life a living hell because of what I'd supposedly done to him and his true love, Lily. His hatred would be so profound that he'd systematically dismantle everything I held dear, ultimately throwing me behind bars. Just the thought was enough to send a shiver down my spine. I scrambled away from him, half crawling, half rolling off the bed. My mind was screaming, "Get away! Run!" But before I could even make it 2 feet, a strong hand clamped onto my arm, pulling me back with an almost frightening force. Ethan's eyes were red, his breathing ragged, a mix of anger and something else I couldn't quite decipher. His voice was husky, almost a growl. "Where do you think you're going? You haven't finished what you started, have you? Don't stop now." OMG. He pulled me closer, his scent, something cold and woodsy, filling my nostrils. His warm breath tickled my ears, sending a weird tingle through me. I couldn't help but turn my head to look at him properly. He was lying there, his eyes still flushed at the corners, his shirt half open, revealing a chiseled physique. His normally composed face was contorted with an unfulfilled desire. His eyes, fixed on me, held my reflection. My God, I'd really gone and done it, hadn't I? My mind was in overdrive, trying to process this new reality while simultaneously replaying the original plot, a constant warning siren blaring in my head. Danger! Danger! Our world, as I now understood it, existed within a cheesy romance novel called The Little Wife Runs Away with Her Baby. The heroine, Lily, was this pure, resilient flower, an innocent soul who worked at a singing club. That's where she met both the male lead, Noah, and Ethan. They both fell for her. And me? I was the evil childhood friend, hopelessly in love with Ethan, but unrequited. My role was to drug him at a party, get pregnant, and force his family to make me marry him. From that point on, he'd hate me with every fiber of his being. He'd orchestrate my family's ruin, my brother's accident, my parents' sudden deaths, and finally, my own incarceration. I remembered the vivid details, the gloomy, rainy day I was sent to prison, my foolish, tear-filled question to him. "After all these years, did you never feel anything for me? Not even for a second?" And his chilling reply, utterly devoid of emotion, "Spending even 1 second with you makes me sick to my stomach." I snapped back to reality, staring at Ethan. That hateful voice, those chilling words still echoed in my ears. I wrenched myself out of his grasp, practically leaping off the bed, putting a good 6 feet between us. Ethan's eyes slowly cleared, and he watched my panic movements with an icy gaze. I looked at his rumpled shirt, the one I had practically ripped off him, and offered a weak, awkward smile. "It's all a misunderstanding. I had too much to drink, mistook you for someone else. Let's just pretend this never happened, okay? See you around." With that, I bolted, not daring to look back.
The next day, my best friend Chloe and a bunch of our girls dragged me to a bar. The moment Chloe saw me, a mischievous grin spread across her face. "So, Sarah, how was your exhibition last night?" I ignored her, downing a drink, feeling utterly miserable. The girls exchanged confused glances, wondering about my strange reaction. Chloe, observing my somber mood, stroked her chin. "Don't tell me Ethan wasn't up to par." Their expressions, a mix of surprise and suspicion, made me sigh deeply. Girls, I'm ruined. They were stunned by my melodramatic declaration. Before they could pry further, a sudden commotion erupted. We looked over and saw Lily, the innocent heroine, standing alone amidst a crowd, her beautiful face etched with helplessness. A bald, chubby guy was clinging to her arm, refusing to let go. "My clothes cost a fortune. You think accidentally spilling something is good enough? No, you owe me an explanation today." The drunk older man was yelling, pulling at Lily's arm. Just as we were about to go down and see what was happening, Ethan and Noah arrived on the scene. I immediately froze, staying put on the upper level, silently watching Ethan approach Lily. He still had that indifferent expression, his cold eyes making him seem unapproachable, but the way he protected Lily was incredibly gentle and considerate. So gentle, so considerate, that my heart ached with an unbearable pain. Lily, tears welling in her eyes, looked up at him mournfully. "Ethan?" My eyes burned with unshed tears, but I forced myself to keep watching. "Just watch a few more times and you'll get used to it," I silently told myself, a pathetic attempt at self-comfort. Downstairs, Ethan seemed to sense my gaze, and his cold eyes swept in my direction. I quickly ducked my head, avoiding his stare. My friends behind me, noticing Ethan shielding Lily, carefully watched my reaction. Chloe nudged me. "Ethan's just being a good Samaritan, Sarah. Don't overthink it." The other girls glared at Chloe. "Chloe, shut up." The old guy, seeing Ethan and Noah, sheepishly scurried away. I didn't care what was happening downstairs. I grabbed my bag and told Chloe and the others, "I have to go. I'm heading home." I rushed out of the bar. When I got home, my brother, Alex, was working. He looked up surprised. Well, the princess is home early today." I ignored him, walking straight to the kitchen to pour him a cup of coffee. His eyes widened slightly, a little overwhelmed. "Princess, what's wrong? Are you out of money?" My brother paused mid-sip. "Alex, can you arrange a blind date for me with Blake Fitzgerald?" His coffee cup froze in midair. "What? You're not chasing Ethan anymore? What's the point of men anyway? Do you want to contribute to the family business?" I clung to his arm, whining playfully. Ever since I had that vivid dream, I'd been agonizing over this. My obsessive love for Ethan had led to my parents' and brother's tragic deaths, all because of a man. Now that I knew the future, how was a spoiled rich girl like me supposed to change this outcome? "Our family doesn't need to sell off its daughters for business, Sarah. Alex and Mom and Dad just want you to live a good life." Alex ruffled my hair. My nose suddenly stung, and I buried my face in his arms, sobbing. My family loved me so much. I did, however, manage to get a date with Blake. As we sat in the restaurant, I smoothed my slightly curled hair, meticulously observing the man opposite me. He wore a high-end suit, his face was chiseled, his hair neatly combed. Every movement was calm, a true gentleman. "Thank you," Blake smiled at the waiter. I secretly added points in my mind. He was polite, composed. Even without love, I thought, living with someone like him wouldn't be so bad. We were chatting happily when my earring accidentally got caught in my hair. My earlobe was red, almost bleeding. I tilted my head, trying to untangle it. Blake, seeing this, leaned in slightly. "Do you need help?" In that position, to outsiders, it looks like we were about to kiss. "Sarah!" A man's voice echoed behind us. I spun around. It was Noah and Ethan. Noah gave me and Blake a scrutinizing glance. Ethan, standing beside him, had a grim expression, very much like a husband who had just caught his wife cheating. I held my earring, not looking at Ethan, and simply nodded to Noah. I then ignored them. Noah, recognizing Blake as a newly developed CEO, went over to socialize briefly. I lowered my head, cutting my steak, my slightly curl-long hair falling over my shoulders, conveniently shielding me from Ethan's direct gaze. Yet my mind couldn't help but drift back to that flushed, intimate night. "My mom said you haven't been over for dinner in a while. Come over tomorrow with Alex." Ethan's voice cut through my thoughts. I paused, silently, not looking up. "My brother has plans tomorrow, and I've already made plans with a friend. Please apologize to your mom for me." The resentment from the plot revelation fueled my audacity. As if possessed, I added, "You can invite Lily instead." Ethan said nothing. I continued cutting my steak, feigning busyness, until I sensed his cold, woody scent recede. Only then did my tense body finally relax. My refusal was twofold. First, I genuinely had plans with Chloe for her engagement party. Second, ever since I learned the plot, my feelings for Ethan had become incredibly complicated. I resented his indifference, and I resented myself for loving him so blindly. This tangled mess of emotions made me agitated whenever I saw Ethan. I hated him, and I hated my own foolishness. Blake seemed lost in thought, staring at me and the retreating Ethan. Coincidentally, Blake and Chloe's family had some business dealings recently. The next day, I invited Blake and Chloe to her newly purchased hillside villa for her engagement party. My gift to her was my latest painting. I've always loved ink wash painting, but as a child, Ethan had ridiculed my attempts, saying they looked like ghosts and spells, so I'd gradually lost interest. After my awakening, I rediscovered my passion for it in my free time. As I walked in with my gift, I saw some uninvited guests. Noah was on the balcony playing a game with Lily. Ethan was lounging on the sofa, one hand over his eyes, revealing only his gentle features. He heard me open the door and glanced over, his eyes meeting mine. Then he looked at Blake beside me. I quickly turned away, avoiding his gaze, so I didn't see the heavy look in his eyes. Chloe, smiling, came to greet me, taking my gift. She whispered, "I don't know why Lily and the guys are here. I'm sorry, girl." I waved my hand, chatted with the other girls for a bit, then wandered over to the pool. I lay bored on a lounge chair, scrolling through Hot Topics. Someone approached my chair. I looked up. It was Lily, the innocent heroine. A sudden bad feeling washed over me. I stood up, intending to leave, but Lily suddenly grabbed my wrist. I frowned, a questioning look on my face. She offered a soft smile and simply said, "Oops, sorry." The next second, I felt myself being pulled. We both tumbled into the pool. The cold water rushed into my nose. My face twisted in indescribable pain. I flailed helplessly, hoping to grab onto something. I heard someone calling out my name as my consciousness began to fade. I saw a figure swimming towards me. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. Blake, holding a thermos, was pushing the door open. He had a handsome face, a gentle and thoughtful demeanor that made him approachable. "You're awake? Just in time. I just got some warm water." I tried to speak, but my throat was incredibly sore. "Drink some water first." I took the cup and my mind suddenly recalled Lily pulling me into the pool. "Where's Lily?" I asked. "Noah rescued her. She's fine." I drank the water, my mind already analyzing the situation. Her pulling me into the pool was clearly intentional. But why? What does she gain from it? A million unanswered questions swam in my head when the doctor came to examine me. He said I was fine, and I, not liking the smell of disinfectant, left the hospital early. When I got home, Ethan had called me several times, but I was showering and didn't hear them. When I came out, I figured it was just the typical male lead behavior, questioning me about pushing his Lily into the water. I picked up my phone, pouting, better safe than sorry, so I didn't call him back. For the next few weeks, I stayed at home, recuperating. I spent my days painting in my room, living a peaceful, carefree life. The next time I saw Ethan was over half a month later at my best friend Josh's welcome home party. After my run-in with the main characters and their drama, I originally wanted to decline, but Josh insisted, whining about our childhood friendship. I had no choice but to get dressed up and head to the private dining room Josh had reserved. The moment I entered, Josh pushed me into the seat next to Ethan. He knew I'd liked Ethan since we were kids and was always trying to play matchmaker. I didn't say anything, but I really wanted to tell him, dude, times have changed. Ethan sat silently beside me, drinking, not even glancing my way. He probably thought I, the evil villainess, had pushed his precious heroine into the water and was still fuming. I also feigned indifference, leaning back on the sofa, scrolling through my phone. One hand scrolled, the other reached for the fruit platter. My grip wasn't steady, and a small tomato cherry fell. I quickly reached out to catch it, but a hand with distinctly defined knuckles was faster, catching it beneath mine. My hand instinctively slapped down. The brief warmth disappeared instantly. My heart thumped. I looked up. Ethan also turned to look at me. I avoided his gaze. The hand he touched felt hot, like it was on fire. I sat up straight, feeling very uncomfortable. Noah arrived with Lily. Lily had clearly dressed up for the occasion, her gentle black hair and white dress making her look like the quintessential innocent heroine. Josh, always one for games, immediately suggested playing dice and truth or dare when everyone was there. He picked up a bottle and declared the game on. The first round was Josh's turn. The bottle landed on Lily. Lily's eyes widened like a startled rabbit. Then she smiled shyly. I choose truth. Josh, knowing she was with Noah and seeing how protective Noah was, he assumed they were practically dating. He decided to play matchmaker. Is there anyone here you like? Lily's face instantly flushed, but to everyone's surprise, she didn't look at Noah. Instead, she looked at Ethan. Everyone's eyes darted between the three of them, eager for gossip. She bit her lip slightly, her face still shy, and softly said yes. The expected uproar didn't happen. Everyone looked at each other, then at me. Everyone at the table except Lily was a close friend. They all knew I'd liked Ethan since I was kids, and now, out of nowhere, another girl shows up? And what was going on with Noah? Meanwhile, the two people at the center of this storm seemed unfazed. Ethan's face remained impassive, completely unconcerned. His slender fingers lit a cigarette. My poker face was solid, too. Only Noah seemed a little distracted. Lily spun the bottle. It spun gently and, whether by accident or design, it landed right in front of Ethan. He seemed almost disinterested, his eyes downcast. His husky voice said, "Truth." Lily blushed. "Is there anyone here you like?" His eyes were stunningly red. I couldn't see his face clearly, only the sharp lines of his jaw, his high nose, and his thin lips. Everyone held their breath, waiting for his answer. Then he spoke, his voice incredibly soft, yet clear enough to make everyone gasp. This was Ethan, the most reserved and secretive person. He even had someone he liked, and that person was here. His words were like thunder, shocking everyone. Everyone felt this party was worth it just to hear such a gossip about Ethan.
Everyone was shocked, except me. My expression was normal. Not only was I not surprised, but I even thought, of course. Even a cold, aloof man like him has a heart, and that heart aligns with the romance novel plot, deeply in love with only the heroine. This was all too normal. Ethan ignored everyone's curious gazes. His long, slender fingers picked up the bottle. He didn't even spin it. He pointed it directly at me. Everyone was confused by his actions. Can you even play like that? His face was exquisitely refined, yet emotionless. Just sitting there, he could command attention, and he just stared at me, his cool eyes seeming to draw you in. Everyone held their breath, wondering what he would ask. He opened his mouth. I called you many times. Why didn't you answer? My pupils dilated, my body stiff. I stared at him in disbelief. Josh excitedly slapped the table. Ah! Ah! More gasps rippled through the room. Only Lily's face was pale. He continued to pepper me with questions, completely ignoring the rules, like a barrage of fireworks. I sent someone to check on you. When I finished work and went to the hospital, the doctor said you'd already been discharged. Last time, I asked you to come over for dinner, and you avoided me. Are you avoiding me? No one had ever seen someone as reserved as Ethan speak so many words at once. Although his tone was calm, everyone could hear the suppressed hurt in his voice. I stared blankly at Ethan, who was frowning at me from across the table. Josh and everyone else's curious gazes made me want to crawl under the table. I stood up, pulling Ethan out. Once we were in a secluded spot, I shouted, "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" His lips curled slightly, but there was no smile in his eyes. Actually, what I really want to ask is, who did you mistake me for that night? I gaped, speechless. He continued, you touched me all over and now you don't want to take responsibility? Am I just a toy for you to play with when you feel like it? Answer me, Sarah. I was stunned. Was this the Ethan I knew? The word thuggish seemed to describe him perfectly. His indifferent face when I was thrown into prison now eerily mirrored his current indignant and demanding expression. The result was me fleeing in terror. I sat on my bedroom floor looking at the moon outside the window, feeling like this world was incredibly strange. The unreality made me feel like I was floating on a cloud. So, what did Ethan mean? Was it what I thought he meant? I carefully replayed everything in my mind. Was it because he thought I pushed Lily into the pool? If I were still the infatuated, unenlightened villainess from the original plot, his revenge would be simple. But now, I wasn't following the script. So the male lead's knight in shining armor chose this method to get back at me? I had clearly distanced myself from the main characters and started my own life, so why were they still clinging to me like leeches? The more I thought about it, the more restless I became. If he planned to get revenge, I definitely couldn't outsmart Ethan. I even texted my brother, who was on a business trip abroad, to be careful of Ethan. I paced around my room for a long time. Finally, I texted Ethan, I didn't push Lily. If you don't believe me, check the security cameras. Then, I blocked him. Only then did my mood stabilize. The next morning, Ethan suddenly blocked my way in my house. There's a misunderstanding between us. Can we talk? We went to the garden. I crossed my arms, feeling a little uneasy. Just say what you need to say. You have nothing to do with Lily anyway. I glared at him, retorted, I never said you two had anything going on, but you seem to care a lot about her. The mention of Lily's name, remembering how she inexplicably pulled me into the pool, infuriated me. I spun around, coldly replying, I have nothing to do with her, so why should I care about her? Or do you care so much about her that you have to second-guess everything everyone else does? I really don't understand you, Ethan. If this is all you want to talk about, then I don't think we have anything to say. Don't worry, I don't like you anymore, and I won't do anything to bother Lily. Just make sure she doesn't bother me. With that, I ignored Ethan's changing expression and turned to leave. As I walked past him, Ethan grabbed my wrist tightly, his face fierce, yet with a hint of panic and brokenness. I didn't mean it like that. His hateful tone from when he sent me to prison, remembering my brother and parents' tragic fate, often woke me up in cold sweats. Maybe I had finally let go, or maybe I didn't want to repeat the past. At that moment, looking at his expression, my heart was completely calm. I only sneered. Then what do you mean, Ethan? I'm afraid of you. I moved away from you because you made me sick to my stomach. Wasn't that enough? Why are you clinging to me, making me uncomfortable? Saying these words, my heart felt like it was being squeezed. It hurt so much. But I still refused to back down, staring intensely at him. When did I ever make you sick? Don't talk nonsense. It will make you uncomfortable too. Lily has nothing to do with me. Are you mad about what happened at the bar? If I don't like you, I won't interact with her anymore. Ethan still held my hand tightly, refusing to let go. He, always so composed, seemed a little flustered at that moment. What do you mean now? Do you like me? Yes, I like you. His direct confession left my mind blank. My retorts died in my throat. I was silent for a moment, then pretended to be calm and unyielding. The person you like is Lily. You just haven't realized it yet. Even if you don't like her now, you will later. I don't want to get involved in your relationships. I don't want to gamble on your real feelings. The price is too high. I can't afford it. I took a deep breath and continued. If you truly love me, then don't contact me again. For the sake of our long history, please. Blake and I are getting along quite well, though every time we meet, it feels more like a business negotiation. Blake asked me to be his girlfriend and attend the Capitol Business Gala. The moment I arrived at the event, I bumped into Lily, who had just changed into her outfit, and Noah, who was attending to her. I heard that Noah's family had arranged many blind dates for him recently, but he had resisted and repeatedly attended events with Lily. However, what the main characters did wasn't my concern. I still hadn't gotten revenge for her pushing me into the pool.
When Blake and I arrived at the gala, many people were already there. That day, I wore a pair of high heels that rubbed my heels a bit to match my gown, but I kept a bright facade, holding Blake's hand and socializing. I looked up and saw Lily, meticulously dressed, laughing and talking with Noah amidst the crowd. Ethan stood on the other side, holding a glass of wine, surrounded by many people. Chloe, seeing this, whispered, "I heard Noah's mother absolutely despises her. She even handed Lily a check to get rid of her." But who knew Lily had such backbone? She tore up the check, saying Noah's mother was insulting their love, and told Noah about it. Now, Noah and his mother's relationship is like oil and water. Plus, look at her. She's walking with Noah, looking so smug. Everyone in our circle is saying she's clinging to Noah while flirting with other rich guys. I sipped my red wine, listening to Chloe's gossip. Gossip was normal. Rich playboys, tired of fancy meals, often prefer plain porridge, so to speak. Lily's family background was poor, but she exuded this innocent, unworldly vibe that we pampered socialites couldn't offer them. She'd take them to roadside noodle stalls, cheap amusement parks with $1 games. I heard that a few days ago, she and Noah walked home in the rain because she didn't want him to waste money on a taxi. Then, I heard Noah got a 3-day fever and acute gastritis after walking in the rain. How romantic. I wasn't interested in their gossip. Lazily, I went up to the rooftop for some fresh air. After a while, I heard familiar footsteps behind me. Ethan, holding a bandage, slowly approached me. It seemed he had forgotten our last conversation. I sat on the swing chair on the rooftop, avoiding his touch, and took the bandage from his hand. I said faintly, "Thank you. Look, I'm drawing on a wind book. It's really good. I have a friend who just got a job at the art academy. She's really good at ink wash painting. If you're interested, I can put you in touch." He didn't answer. Ethan kept talking to himself. Finally, unable to bear it, I coldly interrupted him. "You forgot? When we were kids, you said my paintings looked like ghosts and spells." Ethan pressed his lips together, falling silent for a moment. "Because that painting, you painted only Josh." As Ethan and I faced each other in silence, the quiet atmosphere was broken by Lily's sudden appearance. "Ethan." Her voice was soft. Ethan had completely blocked me, so Lily didn't see me. Ethan glanced over slightly. His eyelids were very thin. Blinking made him look incredibly captivating. The dark wind blew, and only faint moonlight illuminated his cheeks, making him appear even colder and more distant. Lily bit her lip, cautiously saying, I heard Noah say you like dishes with sauce the most. I recently learned to cook too. If you're free, please come to my place. I want to repay your kindness for helping me at the bar last time. I sat calmly on the swing, watching the heroine and the supporting male lead flirt from a close distance. Ethan's expression didn't change, but his words were cold and unapologetic. It's not that I like dishes with sauce. Sarah likes them, so I eat them too. The last time at the bar, I only helped you out of respect for Noah. Did you consider Noah's feelings when you deliberately leaned on me? Also, the daily WeChat messages you send me are truly annoying, Miss Lily. Lily's face, which had been flushed, turned completely pale after hearing his words. Large, pea-sized tears rolled down her face. Her mournful expression even made me feel a pang of pity. Ethan, why are you bothering them? A male voice interrupted Lily's choked sobs. Noah leaned against the door behind her, his face grim. He stared intently at Lily. I didn't know when he had arrived or how much he had heard. Lily was instantly flustered, staring blankly at Noah, who had suddenly appeared outside the door. Ethan, holding the bandage in his hand, knelt down and took my ankle, bandaging it for me. Because Ethan had knelt, Lily immediately noticed my presence. She froze, her face stiff like a statue. Her beautiful face was slightly contorted, her lovely eyes filled with humiliation and awkwardness. Ethan smiled, draped his jacket over my shoulders, and led me off the rooftop. Before we left, I vaguely heard Noah say, "Lily, you really are something." Lily's image seemed to have shattered. I heard Noah has been going on blind dates arranged by his family. Chloe, lying on my sofa, drinking bubble tea, told me this. I rubbed my face, casually replying, "They probably just had a fight. They'll probably make up in a couple of days." Chloe thought for a moment. Then, suddenly, full of interest, leaned closer to me. "Oh my, Ethan's been pursuing you so fiercely lately. What do you think?" My parents really like Blake, but my brother doesn't like him very much. Chloe pouted. "I don't like Blake much either. He feels like he's fake and selfish. Remember what happened at the pool? When you fell, Ethan jumped in to save you without a second thought. Blake just waited until you were rescued before lending a hand." My hands, applying cosmetics, froze. Did Blake not save me? Of course not. Plus, my family also has some business dealings with him. I don't know why, but I just feel like he's... The next part of her sentence, I didn't quite catch. I always thought Blake saved me. When I asked him, he hadn't denied it. It turned out Ethan saved me. A few days later, Blake asked me out to dinner. I looked at the man across from me, my mind replaying Chloe's words. As we quietly ate, Ethan and some of his company people also entered the dining room. The moment he walked in, he was like a radar, immediately spotting me. Then his group sat down at the table next to us. My whole body stiffened. I secretly glanced at him. He sat casually in his chair, lighting a cigarette, his face cold and aloof, like a painting, yet with a hint of loneliness. After dinner, Blake and I left the dining room one after the other. Our cars were parked not far from there. As we walked to the side of the road, a car suddenly sped towards me. My breath seemed to stop at that moment. I stared blankly at the approaching car, getting closer and closer. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't move. A second later, I was suddenly enveloped in a warm embrace. My heart stopped. Terrified, I clung to the man in front of me, my mind blank. "How long are you going to take advantage of me?" That voice, laced with a faint smile, echoed. Only then did I snap back to reality and look up. It was Ethan. I pushed him away. He winced slightly, letting out a soft groan. Only then did I realize his arm seemed to be injured. I quickly called the police and drove him to the hospital, completely forgetting about Blake. After an examination at the hospital, his left arm was found to have a minor fracture. I drove Ethan home. I felt so guilty. He said he really missed the shrimp porridge I made, so I went to the supermarket, bought shrimp, and cooked for him. The police investigation results were in. It was a drunk driver. I scoffed. The driver seemed very sober when he sped towards me. It was clearly aimed at me. Ethan, hearing this, his fingers twitched slightly, his face deep in thought. I brought the cooked shrimp porridge from the kitchen. Ethan used his uninjured arm to scoop a spoonful, tasting it gently. The last time I ate this was in high school. You made it for me. I lowered my head, not replying. Why do you hate me so much, Sarah? At least tell me why. I'm leaving now. What do you want to eat tomorrow? I'll come and cook for you. I picked up my bag. Don't go. Ethan, forgetting his left arm was injured, reached out to me. Then he winced in pain and his elbow accidentally knocked the hot bowl of shrimp porridge onto himself. I quickly grabbed napkins to wipe the stains from his clothes, afraid he'd get burned. Then I pulled him to the bathroom to clean up. By the time I reacted, I had one hand unbuttoning his shirt and the other touching his abs. My face instantly flushed. I stood up awkwardly. Ethan's hand gripped mine, his body trembling, his ears flushed. I pursed my lips, hiding a smile. Or you can just shower yourself. I opened the door and walked out. Ethan's fractured arm took over a month to heal. He was a picky eater, especially when sick. Because I felt guilty, I went to his place every day to cook for him. Coincidentally, a senior artist I admired was holding an art exhibition nearby. After cooking for him, I went to see the exhibition alone. After leaving the exhibition, I was kidnapped. A sack was thrown over my head. I could only vaguely feel that I was in an empty warehouse. The previous accident had felt suspicious, so I had made sure to turn on my location and emergency contact settings. My brother and the police would find me soon. My hands were tied. I sat quietly on the chair. Suddenly, the warehouse door slowly opened. A man in his early 40s spoke. "I've got the person. When will you transfer the money?" The other person didn't speak. The middle-aged man snarled. "I'm a desperate man. If you don't keep your word, don't blame me for dragging you down with me." A chilling suspicion formed in my mind. I tentatively asked, "Lily?" The warehouse fell silent. I knew I had guessed correctly. A second later, the sack was roughly pulled from my face. In the warehouse, it was only Lily, no one else. The light was too bright, making my eyes water. Lily slapped my face and chuckled coldly. "You're pretty smart." Lily turned and grabbed a can of gasoline, splashing it around me. As she splashed, she casually said, "If you hadn't shown up, I would have already achieved my goal and gone home." Ethan's affection for me never changed at all. My hard-won affection for Noah dropped to zero. "Sarah, you don't know how much I wanted you to die a tragic death." So that was it. Finally, a logical explanation for her pulling me into the pool. She probably wanted to frame me and establish her pure heroine image because I, the villainess, hadn't reached my wicked plot point. Lily's soft face was filled with ferocity. She curled her lips, lit a lighter, and softly said, "Don't blame me. Blame yourself for not following the script and getting in my way." With that, she gently tossed the lighter. In an instant, flames erupted. At the same moment, the warehouse door was kicked open. Ethan and the police rushed into the warehouse one after another. Lily hadn't even had time to react before she was tackled to the ground. It turns out that after my car accident, Ethan had put someone on Lily's every move. Ethan, without waiting for the police, directly charged into the flames. Wooden beams on the ceiling above me were catching fire. I screamed in despair, telling him to leave quickly. As the fiery wooden beam fell, Ethan had already lunged in front of me, shielding my head tightly. The sturdy beam pressed down on him. I could almost smell burning on him. He was in so much pain, cold sweat pouring from his face, but he only let out a soft groan, as if afraid to scare me. He still gently comforted me. "I'm okay." After we were rescued, we were rushed to the hospital. I was fine, but Ethan suffered severe burns. I sat outside the operating room, tears streaming down my face. After Ethan was moved to a private room, he fell into a coma. I spent sleepless nights carefully watching over his bedside. For days, he didn't wake up. During this time, Blake never contacted me, not even once. I figured it was because everyone was spreading rumors that my face was disfigured. I didn't care what he thought. It was only after I had been nursing Ethan for days that even Ethan's mother couldn't bear it and told me to go home and rest. I shook my head, refusing to leave. Ethan's mother told me to be obedient, go home, shower, and change clothes, and she would take care of him. That evening, I went home, showered, and grabbed some clothes before returning to the hospital. I looked at Ethan, lying in bed with his eyes closed, his body covered in wounds. This was the proudest man in the city. I couldn't help but break down. My nose stung, and I pressed my face into his palm, sobbing, my voice hoarse with despair. Ethan, please wake up. I won't go against you anymore. I'll agree to anything you say. Please just wake up. I'll even be your girlfriend. Yes, I will. Just wake up. After saying that, I sat up blankly, tears blurring my vision. I didn't care about my appearance and rubbed my eyes. Ethan squeezed my hand, his pale lips curving slightly. Sarah, you agreed. Whoever lies is a puppy. I frowned, throwing myself into his arms, sobbing. Ethan's mother heard the commotion and called the doctor to the room. I shyly pulled away from his embrace and stood aside, watching everyone examine him. Ethan's mother kept looking at Ethan, then at my embarrassed self, and smiled, her heart relieved. Because Ethan's family had kept the news under wraps, it wasn't until Ethan was discharged that everyone realized he was the one who was injured, not me. Our group of friends threw a welcome home party for him at Ethan's house. The idea, of course, came from Josh. Ethan held my hand the entire time, a subtle sweetness in his normally cold expression. Everyone was surprised to discover that the iceberg of the city, when dating, was just like a normal person. Chloe quietly came up to me and whispered, "It's a good thing you're okay. I couldn't reach you for days. I was so worried. My phone burned up on the warehouse. I haven't even bought a new one yet." Chloe patted my shoulder, happily saying, "It's good that you're okay. It's good that you're okay." Lily, for attempted murder, she's definitely getting some jail time. I heard she kept rambling to the police, wanting to see Noah, wanting to see Ethan, saying she was the heroine and that I should be in jail. She was like a madwoman. I thought for a moment. If it were the original plot, I would indeed be in jail. But I looked at Ethan in the living room, thinking why the plot in my head was now so different. It must have been that dream.
That night, I had a nightmare. That nightmare, of course, was the ending after I was sent to prison. I was in jail, unable to accept my family's death, and committed suicide. Ethan, who by then was in love with the heroine, casually said she deserved to die, but slowly shed tears as if he had a split personality, as if a trapped soul within his indifferent, male lead body was weeping for my death. A few years later, the yacht he was on had an accident. When the rescue team pulled him out, he was clutching our wedding ring. I woke up sobbing. Ethan, sleeping beside me, was also holding my hand tightly. I lay in his arms, my fingers tracing his features in the dark, thinking for a long time. I really couldn't doubt his true feelings anymore. Let's give each other a chance, I thought. His warm breath ghosted against my ear. I lay in his arms, finally feeling at peace, falling into a deep, restful sleep. My wife truly is an idiot. Even after we got married, she still thought she successfully drugged me that day. I don't know who gave her that idea. I suspect it was Chloe. I actually have to thank Chloe for her help. That night, I was feeling a bit off, but my wife stopped halfway, saying she mistook me for someone else. I didn't sleep well that night. Afterwards, rumors started circulating in our circle that I wasn't up to par. Josh came to my office, his eyes darting up and down, asking hesitantly, "Ethan, are you really not up to par?" I glared at him. "Keep staring and I'll gouge your eyes out." After we got married, I finally proved whether I was up to par or not. My wife has always lacked a sense of security. Before the wedding, she was still convinced I had unusual feelings for Lily. I never told her that I've always heard a strange voice. Every time she bickered with me, that voice in my ear seemed to tell me to explain myself, not to lose her again. Since childhood, this voice had guided me in many things. It wasn't until after we got married that I had a dream, almost like a past life, and this voice completely disappeared. I finally understood why she was so convinced I would love Lily. And this life's destiny, it was also because in my past life, I committed suicide and messed up the plot, begging for this chance now. We live very happily. Our 2 daughters are already in school. She still makes my heart melt. Lily is about to be released from prison. Lately, my wife has been having many nightmares, even muttering in her sleep about Lily pushing her into the pool. So, the day Lily was released, I went to see her. She looked at the burns on my arm and sneered. Sarah couldn't see it, but that night I saw it very clearly, Ethan. You're not only cruel to others, you're even crueler to yourself than I am. I didn't care much. I still have to thank you. Without that dramatic stunt, how else would she have accepted me so quickly? I smiled faintly and continued, Miss Lily, do you still think this is a plot where you can do whatever you want? If you do wrong, you must face the consequences. I'll be waiting for you after you get out of prison. Lily froze for a few seconds, her hair disheveled, her expression wild, like a beast. What do you want to do to me? I'm the heroine. Things shouldn't be like this. Why did the plot change like this? Why did you all change your minds? Why are you all siding with that bitch Sarah? You're supposed to like me, love me. I just want to go home. Ethan, please let me go. Let me go! I coldly watched her, completely insane. Not long after Lily was released from prison, she drowned in a swimming pool. Her death was very painful. After my wife heard the news, she sobbed for a long time. I squeezed her hand and changed the subject. When the girls are on summer vacation, how about our family goes on a trip? You've been busy with your art exhibition lately. You've ignored me for too long. She stuck out her tongue and snuggled into my arms, apologizing. Sorry, my dear husband. I hugged her, my heart filled with happiness. This time, I finally felt like I hadn't done anything wrong. The sunlight shone in from outside. Happiness was truly just this. And that's the end of the story.
Bonus.